Alright guys, welcome to today's update discussion and thoughts video. We're going to be talking about update 2.7 coming in early July. So far, from just looking at it, it seems like we're not getting that much. There's definitely more of a brief update than what we're used to, especially considering some things like Grand Conquest, Blessed Gardens, Rival Domains, where we've kind of had like a new mode or something new to play with in the past few months. So this feels a little bit light compared to that. But considering what sort of legendary banners we've had recently and summer banners, and there's no new heroes coming up, I feel like this is kind of like the calm before the storm, guys. So definitely prepare yourself, because I feel like something's coming after this. Let's get to it. What do we have today? Well, it's not happening today, but it will be happening in about a week. So far, it looks like Tactic Drills is coming to this, to Fire Emblem Heroes. What is Tactics Drills? Well, apparently it's some sort of challenge mode. That's what it comes off as. Tactics Drills is being added as a way to learn the rules of Fire Emblem Heroes as you play. In Tactics Drills, you will be presented with situations that test your strategy with a fixed set of heroes that you must use to overcome challenges with a given number of phases. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but kind of like a lowdown of it. Obviously, to most people, what is most interesting here is the rewards are orbs and hero feathers. Okay, beyond that, I think it's actually pretty cool. The game did seem to lack some sort of like tutorial when it came to maybe AI manipulation. This could be really good as a way to teach people how the AI will react if it gives you like a certain set of units. Could be very good for that. The first kind of preview picture we have here kind of implies that it's trying to teach you how special charges work. So what I remember is like the Virion map with Anna there, and she's like, oh, my special can get charged, and then she night skies and kills a dude. So that's kind of like a throwback to that. But I'm more excited for what this might mean for veteran players. Maybe they're going to add some real challenge to this. They'll give you like a very particular set of units that have like one solution or maybe two solutions at best to figure out. Probably one if it's supposed to be a challenge. What's most disappointing to me is that most people probably will just YouTube it, or it'll be on some forum or something, and then you'll just cheese the strategy. And since it's a preset battle, you can pretty much just look up a guide and get it done. I personally will try to do everything without exposing myself to the internet, and I probably recommend you guys do it too if you feel like you need some sort of challenge. It may really make these sort of things stand out, especially if you're looking for some sort of content or extending the lifespan of the game in some way. I like that it's preset units. That means that anyone should really be able to jump into this and get the rewards out of it. That's the thing about the rewards. This is why I kind of am disgruntled by that sort of thing. If it rewards orbs and hero feathers, people are going to want like some sort of instant gratification and find the guide and get it done, get the orb out of the way. But hopefully they do something that encourages you from not having to like cheat. That's my opinion on this though. I think it's really cool, and I'm going to try to do them without exposing myself out of there. But yeah, they're going to definitely lock it behind completion of the story. You're going to have to do book 1 chapter 13 first. Once you do book 1 chapter 13, then it will unlock the Grand Master versions. And if you're starting out, you kind of just do the basics, a tutorial version, maybe start learning about the skills. Maybe they'll put in Bold Fighter in there, teach you about various skills. Watch out for this skill, you will die. Or that guy over that horse with the tome, the blue tome called Dire Thunder, he attacks you twice. So maybe that's in the Grandmaster, maybe that's also in the skill studies. Either way, I'd probably get a good laugh if I see some sort of memes coming out of Intelligent Systems. They are pretty good with that. They tend to do that sort of thing. All right, and now the more juice of the update. The stuff we've all been waiting for. Okay, first of all, I do like Titania, I do like Nephany, but I don't feel like these units here were the right picks for weapon refines. This is my opinion on this though. The reasoning that I have for that is that there are so many more units that definitely deserve weapon refines, okay? Don't get me wrong, Titania is definitely the most deserving of a weapon refine here. Katarina probably needs one too, because M. Morgan kind of outclasses her now. Nephany, whatever. And Eldigan, he kind of just has a side grade, so he doesn't really count here. But Titania definitely kind of needed it. She does have a little bit of a niche, being a green cav axe that's fast and available in the 3 and 4 star pool, so I'll give you that much. But in terms of most power output, she was lacking. I feel like I probably will be building her, or maybe Katarina, when the update releases, as a way of showcasing their weapon refines, if they're unique. We'll see what happens. Nephany though, this is my thoughts on this. I feel like there's some maybe ulterior motives for Intelligent Systems. Are they maybe trying to get us to spend more of this? I mean, we did have a Zelgius banner, Harden, and Legendary Hector just come out. So the only thing that was missing from all of that was Wrath. So what's coming? Like I said, guys, calm before the storm. This implies we're gonna get a new power banner with Nephany, Titania, and Katarina. I don't know about Eldigan, but probably those three at least. So I'm definitely curious. I wanted to also point out the Path of Radiance units, other than Oscar, have all gone to Weapon Refine. So we've had Soren, Titania, Nephany, and not Ike, but a lot of the original Path of Radiance units got refinements. This is a little bit interesting in my point of view. And then here's the contrast. I mentioned earlier, like, there's a lot of units that need weapon refines. So what about Odin? What about Niles? What about Baruka? I mean, some of these are still pretty good units, don't get me wrong. What about Hannah? What about Selena? What about Tsubaki? The pattern here, of course, is Fate's Retainers, right? A lot of those Fate's Retainers haven't really got weapon refines, and they've kind of, you know, gotten a little bit weaker. So yeah, I mean, I feel like there's some units that more deserve it. But anyways, let's try to hypothesize and guess what some of these weapon refines might be. Starting off with Katarina Reese's Tome. My knowledge of this is very limited. I didn't play her game, but what I've heard and read about seems to imply this might be another Bond tome maybe, and working with cavalry units because she was around a lot of cavalry units, so maybe it's going to be another Bond tome. It would also make more sense because of the Avatar unit in New Mystery of Emblem, so let's see. That's probably what I would guess. Hopefully it's more than just that. We've had a lot of Bond refinements lately. We had Crom's set, we had Merrick's set, Lynn's set, even to an extent like Camilla's set, and yeah, and like Sanaki's set. There's a lot of these refinements that are just like, hey, I get some friends and you get some bonus damage, right? So, whatever. Titania's Draconic Pole Axe. Now that's interesting. I think Pole Axe is a given. That's going to be cavalry effective for sure. Pole Axes have been cavalry effective in most games, but the Draconic word is kind of off-putting to me. So does that mean dragon effectiveness? Would be kind of different, would make her stand out. She already has good res, and we don't have any green physical effectiveness against dragons. So I'm contrasting to Julie and Daedra, which have magical. So that's a little bit interesting. I don't know what else it could be. I've never really heard of Draconic Poleaxe. So last up is Dauntless Lance on Nephany, and well, I've kind of seen that image before in the game. It's not like Wishblade, which is one of the more ultimate weapons that she could get in the original game, but I don't know what that possibly could be. And maybe since she already started with Slaying Lance, and if we're going to compare maybe to a little bit like Carol and Fur, maybe she's going to get something like a Nameless Blade for Lances. And again, I feel like this buff might be unnecessary because she's already super powerful. Her stat spread is pretty good as it is. Her attack stat is still, it's kind of fallen behind current stat spreads that have released, but it's not bad either. So to me, that's a little bit interesting, and I don't really see what else she's gonna get because she's always been, you know, she's had Wrath, that's her thing from the game. So she's going to be something about like cooldown reductions, specials, extra damage on specials. Like, what are you possibly going to give her? So I'm really curious to see that. But again, how ridiculous could she be? And if she's ridiculous, is that really, that's going to encourage us to bust this out, right? Whew. All right. Okay, and finally, Eldigan. Okay, don't refine Eldigan's weapon, please. Eldigan's weapon gives him uniqueness compared to his son. Ares has a better stat spread than Eldigan because he has that BST increase. Ares comes out of the 4-star pool. You'll find him more commonly than Eldigan, so you can merge them up over time if you truly wanted a red sword cav like that. So I don't think he's necessarily going to be doing anything particularly different than what his son already could do. Eldigan is a bit tankier, but I wouldn't, again, Like, that's not what you should be doing with Dark Mistletoe, since it's about like specials and damage and really pumping out that harsh critical damage from bonfires of Draconic Aura that Akariss can do better, in my opinion. So if you're going to refine Eldigan, I think you should just stick to his weapon and refine it for that Fury effect or defense or speed or whatever. Whatever, it's going to be make him different from his son. So that's why I think you shouldn't be spending 150 dues on Eldigan, at least from first impressions. He just doesn't really do much differently from his son. Also, he's more exclusive. Okay, so they made a slight UI change here. Next up is this just quest cleared. I think I appreciate this little change like this. Sometimes I get lost on like what quests are being finished. I kind of just forget. So I can appreciate a small change like this. Nothing too fancy. Not much to say about it really. I guess another real benefit to this is when you do like Tempest Trials at the beginning of a month, you're basically just spamming next, next, next for like 15 times on the first map. So, you know, if they just put it all in one screen where you just click close, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, and probably the most exciting changes are down here in the small text. What we have here is, so if you looked at some of the bigger, this is really applicable. The first text says, on the map selection screen, the screen will automatically scroll to newly added maps. What that means is that, like for Blessed Gardens, where there's always a map added to the top, the screen is just going to go to the top. So whatever, that change doesn't matter. But nonetheless, I gotta point it out. Here's what I do find is interesting, the next point, which is battle music is being added to the settings menu. So background music that plays during battle stages can be toggled on or off. Thank you. Thank you. That was the missing link. So we had enemy phase music turned off, but then obviously if you played with animations on, which I do from time to time, especially during these recordings or during stream and such, during our show, you know, this is great. Now we can finally listen to some of the great tracks without listening to the battle music. What's also interesting is the second point, which says, or it can be set to play only special background music. So what does that mean? Does that really mean, like, can we put on like Twilight of the Gods or like Conquest from Awakenings? Can we just choose our own music for some maps? Because if so, that's great. That's actually super awesome. At least that's what I read out of this. So that is cool, if that's the case. Choosing your own music definitely implied. Okay, next up. Event Recap is being added to the miscellaneous menu. This feature can be used to review conversations from past events. I'm presuming this is like the story chapter stuff. So maybe if you and a friend sat down one day and you wanted to show him Fire Emblem Heroes, instead of going into like a story chapter map, you just have him sit beside you and you're like, hey, let's check out Fire Emblem Heroes story together. Sorry, not Fire Emblem Heroes, guys. Not Fire Emblem Heroes. I don't think I'd be showing people the Fire Emblem Heroes story. Alright, and finally the last option, which is a restart option, is being added to the menus in Grand Hero Battle. Tactics drills and other maps can be played without using stamina. That's a nice little change. It just means that if you fail hundreds of times, you can just click a restart button rather than going out, loading back in, and such and so forth. That's just a small change that I appreciate. That's really it for this update, guys. Nothing really too fancy. I guess like I said, calm before the storm. Something big might be coming. If you haven't summoned on the legendary banner yet, please do so. I mean, green and red are such good value there. After that, begin saving again. Anyways, if you're not part of our Discord, feel free to check out the Discord link in below. Come to the stream sometimes. Come say hi and ask questions if you need to. Discord can also be used to ask questions. Finally, if you want to leave your input on this, feel free to tell me in the comments who you're looking most forward to weapon refining, or maybe some predictions on what these weapons could be if I didn't nail it, because I don't know much about Katarina or anything about Draconic Poleaxe or what they truly could use out of Nephany. So feel free to add your discussion to the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, teach out. Peace.